Hey there, James here, and hope you're having a great day and welcome to another one of my videos. Now in this short lesson, I want to talk about a music theory topic which is really important, even though quite often you don't maybe know why you need to know it. It's essential, and it can help you unravel a lot of confusing things when it comes to understanding the music that you play. The topic I'm talking about today is intervals, and if you've heard of confusing names like major thirds and major sevenths and perfect fourths and all that, well, stick around, because in a couple of minutes you're going to understand most of what you need to know about this important topic. I'm really going to lay it out for you in absolutely BS-free language to really help you understand it. Now, if you like my lessons and you want to really nail your music theory, do check out my recently published book, Noble Music Theory for Guitar. It basically shows you 95% of the music theory you'll probably ever need to know as a musician, okay? All explained, super clear, really easy to read, really easy to follow. Do check it out. I'll put a link to it in the description below this video, and it could just be the book that ends your music theory confusion forever. So check that out by clicking the link below. Anyway, back to intervals. What are intervals? Now, the word intervals, when we talk about music theory, gives us a way to label and describe the distance between notes, and this helps us to understand different scales and what they actually are. It helps us to understand things like chords and triads. It helps us to understand how to compose melodies if you write your own music. And it helps us to understand how to create chord sequences. It really is a very essential thing. And the great thing about it is it's not that difficult to understand. So let's jump in now and have a look at what intervals are. Now let's imagine that I have the C major scale, and I've written that out on the board here. It could be any major scale, but I've just chosen the C major scale. Now if I just play it for you, you don't need to play on your guitar, but there's 7 notes in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we're back to our starting note again, and that would be called an octave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, one way of describing those notes in the scale is to use numbers, and this is where the interval idea comes in. So let's have a look at that now. Basically, all I'm going to do is I'm going to number the notes in the scale as they go up it. So I'm going to take the C note, which we're starting our C major scale on. I'm going to call that the root. You'll also hear it called the tonic, but I'm going to call it the root. So I'm going to put an R under that for root. Okay, that's our first note in the scale, the root. All I'm going to do then is I'm going to number the rest of the notes in the scale. So D, the second note, becomes our second. E, the next note, becomes our third. Oops. Third. F becomes the fourth. G is going to become the fifth. A is the sixth note in the scale, so I'll call that the sixth. B is the seventh. And E, let's call it 8 for now. Now back to C rather, that's 8. So what we have now is all those notes numbered. So if we wanted to describe the jump from the root to, say, F, we can say, well, it's a fourth, because F is the fourth note in the scale. So let's go through them one at a time and banish any confusion you might have. So the distance from the root to the second note in the scale we would call a second. The distance from C to E we could call the third, because E is the third note in the scale. From C to F we could describe that as a fourth. C to G, we could describe it as a fifth. C to A, we could describe that as a sixth. C to B, we could describe that as a seventh. And C to C, we would describe that as an octave. And this helps us to explain and label and understand the little jumps from notes to notes in the music that we play. Now, so hopefully that all makes sense, but you may have heard other more confusing things. You might be thinking, yeah, but what's a perfect fifth and what's a major second and all this kind of stuff? Well, this is simply what I've done here. It's just there's some more sort of traditional or classical music names, and so let's talk about those. Basically, all you need to remember is that every interval, when we're looking at these ones, is major apart from the fourth and the fifth, okay? So the proper name for C to D would be the interval of a major second. C to E is a major third. C to F is a perfect fourth. The fourth and the fifth are called perfect. C to F is a perfect fourth. C to G is a perfect fifth. C to A, remember they're all major apart from the fourth and the fifth, so C to A is a major sixth. C to B is a major seventh. And C to C, well, that may have a perfect or major. Personally, most people just call it an octave, so you can just think of that as an octave. So let me go through those with you one more time. C to D is a major second or a second. C to E is a major third or just a third. C to F is a fourth or a perfect fourth. C to G is a fifth or a perfect fifth. C to A is a sixth or a major sixth. C to B is a seventh or a major seventh. And C to C is simply an octave. Now, it's really important to understand that this labeling process applies to all major scales. So I could have done this with a B flat major scale or an F major scale, and the exact same thing would have applied. I would have numbered the notes 1 to 8 and then given them their number names: major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, and so on. And that's basically how intervals work. Now you might be thinking, well, hang on, major third, has that got anything to do with like what makes a major scale or a major pentatonic scale or a major triad or major chord? Well, you're absolutely right. And this is why understanding intervals is really useful, because it helps us to understand the other things that we see in music and the other things we talk about in music. So the other thing you might be wondering is, well, what about if I flatten these or sharpen some of them? And that's a topic for another video to follow this one up. It is in my book where I talk about all the different intervals, what happens when we sharpen and flatten them in that. But I'll probably make a short video to cover this in a little bit more depth too. So really, that is how your basic intervals work. So now you know what an interval is. It's a gap between two notes and the name we can give it. It's you've got the different names, the major and the perfect intervals. And that's pretty much all you need to know about intervals for now to get started. Like I said, it is a bit of a strange topic, this, and it's one of these things you think sometimes, well, do I really need to know this? How is this going to help me? Just believe me when I say it definitely will help you, and it is worth learning about. So check this out, and it'll really help you. Remember to check the link underneath this video to check out my book. It goes through all this, just lays it out even clearer than I've done here, and it covers the other ones I haven't done. We're talking about the minor seconds and the diminished fifths and the augmented fourths and all that kind of stuff. You'll find it all here laid out, totally BS-free language, no bull, as the title says, and learn what's in this book, and in a couple of months you can really have your music theory really down to a good level. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this this lesson. I hope it's going to help you out. Check out my other music theory sort of short videos here to help you get this stuff together. Subscribe so you don't miss them. And anyway, I'll have a great day. I look forward to seeing you next time. So enjoy the rest of your day. Check out these intervals, and I'll see you in my next video. You'll learn about chords, major and minor scales, intervals, chord sequences, major keys, minor keys, and more to help you become a better guitarist, songwriter, and all-round musician. Everything is presented using chord boxes and fretboard diagrams, so it makes perfect sense on the guitar, and there's absolutely no need to read music to use this book. If you feel like you haven't got time to read a book, then don't worry. It comes with a free downloadable audiobook. Grab this and you can master the essentials of music theory on the go. It's available right now on Amazon as both a Kindle and a paperback book. I'll post some links below this video so that you can click through and learn more about noble music theory and read some of the awesome things that other guitar players are saying about it.